Update: am I the asshole for telling my SIL the truth about my brother and my husband? Original. I wasn't at all expecting my last post to get so much attention. To say that the comments were a wake-up call is an understatement. Many people wanted an update, so here it is. After I gave my husband space, I confronted him about his trips with my brother. He agreed to be honest with me about their relationship. As some of you suspected, Matt knew when we first met that I was Tony's sister and started dating me to get close to Tony again. He claimed that in the first year of our relationship, before he reunited with Tony, he genuinely fell in love with me. When Tony saw us together, he admitted to Matt that he still loved him and was distraught when Matt said he didn't feel the same way. Eventually they made amends and became close friends again. Around the time Matt married me, Tony fell into a deep depression. That's when the trips started. Matt told me that initially he was just supporting Tony as a friend, but Tony broke down on one of the trips and confessed that he never stopped loving Matt and was lying about the trips to his wife because he felt guilty, also why he never told her about their history. He begged Matt to keep this a secret to protect their relationship. According to Matt, nothing physical ever happened between them. I pushed him on why Anna thought there was something going on, and Matt eventually admitted they were having an emotional affair. A few months ago, Anna overheard a phone call between Tony and Matt that made her suspicious, so she went through Tony's phone and confronted him about some things she found. No hard proof but enough to make her uneasy. She told Tony she didn't want him hanging out with Matt anymore, but he did anyway until I accidentally ratted him out. My brother and SIL have totally cut contact, so I don't have anyone to corroborate my husband's story. I still don't know how much of it I believe. If it's true, I don't know why Anna never told me anything. The whole thing sounds too ridiculous to be real, but for now it's all I have. Matt has apologized non-stop and wants to work through this, which I can't even think about right now. The past couple of weeks have been awful. Matt moved out. We both agreed that we need distance before making any decisions about our marriage, but I don't see us coming back from this. I don't think I'll ever be able to trust anyone again. The worst thing is I only have myself to blame for being so fucking naive and not seeing the massive red flags sooner. And for marrying my brother's ex in the first place. More than anything, I feel so incredibly guilty. This was not the ending I'd hoped for, but I'm grateful that I at least have some answers now. Honestly, I'm not sure I would have had the courage to directly confront this if not for my post here. So despite everything, maybe we can all think of this as somewhat of a happy ending. Thank you all for your comments and support. I'm so sorry. I remember commenting on your post back then. This is not your fault. You did nothing to deserve this. Don't feel stupid. You trusted someone you loved and unfortunately that trust was not honored, but that doesn't make it your mistake. I hope you heal from this and find peace. What a terrible situation they've both put you and Anna in. I'm sorry this is happening to you. You have done nothing wrong. You trusted your husband and brother, which is something you should be able to do. You saw the best in them and they failed you. I'm concerned you had to press your husband to get him to admit the emotional affair and he's now claiming nothing physical happened. That sounds like trickle-truthing, and especially given the way he's pressing you to work through it instead of respecting your need for space raises red flags to me. Please be gentle with yourself. Getting through this, no matter what the ending, will be a marathon, not a sprint. I hope you find peace and happiness down the road. It's okay, you did nothing wrong. What Matt did to you was completely wrong. He took complete advantage of you and your brother's relationship. You were an amazing partner and gave him everything he needed. Remember that. All you need to do is learn from these mistakes. This story seems to have more details that Matt is hiding, but at this rate you thankfully don't want to stay anyways. This marriage was built on sand and lies. It's time to move on. I hope you think about counseling for yourself. Good luck. Wishing you peace and happiness. More than anything I feel guilt. No. Your brother owes you an apology. Literally, your brother broke two families apart and Matt finished it. Your brother has some massive balls to blame all of this on you and then goes NC with you and continues to blame you. SMH. Ridiculous. Please go see a therapist for yourself to deal with everything. And if you want to try to mend your marriage, counseling together and for himself. I do wish you the best. Why do you feel guilty? You did nothing wrong. No thing. Even telling the wife was based on what you thought your brother had done, not malice. You weren't the asshole in the original post and certainly not the asshole now. You have a tough road ahead. Your men lied to you. That will take some time. Geez, this is such a sad story. I feel a bit of sympathy for everyone but especially you and SIL. TBH, I don't know if I believe nothing physical happened on those trips. Emotional affairs are just physical affairs waiting for an opportunity. I'm so very sorry this has happened to you. This is not your fault. I think you should focus on yourself right now and start therapy so you can heal from this, and that will allow you to trust people again in the future. You know the feeling when you suspect something but hope it's not true? I was really hoping my assumption was wrong and they were just friends hanging out. But I don't understand why your brother married Anna if he didn't love her? And the fact you were being used is just I would be pissed not sad. You didn't do anything wrong. You in this love square that you didn't even know was taking place. Not your fault in the slightest. Wow, I am sorry this happened and I wish everyone peace and comfort moving forward. Humans put the blame on themselves cause it makes us feel more in control. This is not your fault. Telling yourself may help you feel more in control of the situation, but recognizing your innocence will relieve the guilt. Just repeating what I learned in therapy to save you $200. 1. I am so sorry you are going through this. 2. I don't know if you need to hear this again, but you did nothing wrong. 3. You can't pay me to believe Matt and Tony's relationship never got physical. TBH, this was just the plot to Brokeback Mountain with a couple changes. I feel like this may not be real. Your husband and brother are fucking again, bruh. It's not your fault for trusting your husband. But don't go back to him. Now you know enough to see her isn't a trustworthy person. Yeah, everything but nothing physical sounds a bit ridiculous to me. And your brother is an ass too. Instead of lying around and being depressed, he should take responsibility for his life. He is an adult. None of this is your fault. Nothing. You were surrounded by bad people who played you and used you. Cut them out of your life and move on. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Your brother and your husband betrayed the trust of you and Anna and they are clearly the assholes here, not either of you. I've had some really, really bad breakups. One was violent. It's really hard because you feel like it's your fault for missing the red flags or doing or saying the wrong thing, but please remember that being a trusting person isn't a bad thing. Take all the time you need, remember to breathe, and find a hobby or something you love that you can do to help pass the time. I started writing songs after one guy. Got back into video games after another. Take time for yourself and, with therapy, you can work through the emotional pain of it all. We got your back in the meantime. None of this is your fault. None. Tony lied to his wife. He started his marriage on a lie of omission. Things like this, emo, should be revealed before two people marry. You went into your marriage knowing the full truth, with honest intentions, and integrity. These men ruined their marriages. Not you or Anna. Matt and Tony did. I'm so terribly sorry. Virtual long-distance hugs from a random internet stranger. Be well. There's really no coming back from this. Please don't sink cost fallacy yourself into staying with Matt or convince yourself in any other way. There is a man out there who will make you happy and whom you won't have to worry about fucking your brother, to put it bluntly. I'm sorry this has happened to you. As others have said, this isn't your fault. Your understanding and empathy are wonderful traits. Just be sure you aren't letting people take advantage of those traits in the future. I am so sorry this happened, but it is better you found out now than much later. Yes, you were naive, but I think that is much better than being deceitful, liar and cheater, which is what the men were. It is okay to be more cautious, but please trust again. Don't let these people change the person you are, which is a good, trusting, supportive spouse and sister. I am sorry to see this be the conclusion to what happened. One thing though, it is not your fault and never wasn't. Your brother basically tried to steal your husband. Your husband at least emotionally cheated, but let's be honest, they probably did more or they would need trips away. You are the one betrayed by husband and your own brother, and it isn't your fault. Both these people decided to have zero empathy for you. Other people lied to you. Your husband, hopefully soon to be ex, and your brother. It's none of your fault. But please don't close yourself to relationships. My ex cheated on me and it was a couple of years before I could get into a relationship again, but it was worth it. Don't let your present tarnish your future happiness. They were definitely having sex. Get tested. Sorry this happened to you. As one of the people who told you needed to look at why he was hiding it and why she would jump to that conclusion when you thought it was innocent, I'm sorry it turned out to be this way. You've lost your brother and your husband right now. I don't know what to say, sad face. Yeah, there's a basically 0% chance this affair was only emotional. I'm really sorry. Your brother is a real piece of trash family member to blame this on you and then go NC. What a horrible thing to do to your sister. I guess that just goes to show that blood doesn't always make family. This isn't your fault. Having an affair is your brother and husband's fault. It's really good to see that you don't want to go back, though. Stay strong. Oh man, I'm so sorry. I was hoping that maybe we were all being paranoid internet strangers. The people to blame here are your brother and your husband. Your husband used you and your brother furthered that betrayal by becoming emotionally involved with your spouse. Do not blame anyone but them for this. I know you say your brother and SIL cut contact, but if you can extend an olive branch to the SIL, if you feel emotionally able. She is probably just as devastated, and who knows if your brother is giving her half-truths as well. Best of luck. Unfortunately, with all the lying previously, I still wouldn't take his word that nothing physical happened. Come on, be real. They were alone for weeks together and probably sharing a bed with their true lives. You shouldn't be believing that nothing happened. He probably would die before revealing that they slept together because of all the stigma around that, and to protect your thoughts about what he put in your body when you two slept together. I think all of us in the Reddit community would bet our entire life savings and any future income that your husband and your brother have had a sexual relationship behind their wives' back, for a while. And if you didn't inadvertently blow up their spot monthly weekend trips, they would have continued to cheat on their spouses. This is not your fault. Do not blame yourself. You were used and lied to by two people that should have been loyal to you. Your husband is a coward for continuing to lie to you that this was strictly an emotional affair. Hey, don't feel stupid for being fooled by your husband. No reasonable person would ever think that this would happen to them, because the amount of manipulation and secrets is nuts. He apparently started dating you because he wanted to use you to get back into your brother's life. That's insane. And because you're a kind person who doesn't mistrust every human you come across, you believed that his motivations and emotions were, normal. When the time is right, PLs give us another update. Your entire relationship with Matt was predicated on a lie when he used you to get close to Tony again. Given how much he's manipulated you throughout the entire run of your relationship, with the trips and emotional affair, it's probably more likely than not that he's still not telling you the whole truth. At this point, given all you've discovered, that's pretty scary. I'm glad you're starting therapy soon and hope you're able to move on and find some peace through this mess. I am so sorry that you were in the situation. But I assure you, you have done nothing wrong. None of this is your fault. The fact that Anna didn't know her husband was bi and still figured out something was going on between her and your husband is enough to prove that you weren't at fault. Another story as to why marrying a sibling's ex is a terrible idea. When will people learn? Well, on the bright side, the chances of you marrying another one of your brother's ex-lovers is pretty slim, so they're always that. Girl, if you think they went on that many trips and did nothing but talk. Matt and Tony are both clearly gay. Both marriages need to be dissolved. Tony clearly needs therapy, and his depression is probably because he's a gay person in a straight marriage. If this is a real story, this is a ridiculous situation, but one with an obvious solution. Maybe Tony should divorce Anna and you should file on Matt. I mean, it was only emotional. But if you were to divorce, then this would have a happier ending than Brokeback. I know Matt still loves you, but I think his heart always belonged to Tony. And vice versa. Holy moly. Okay, so, FOA, this is not your fault. Matt knew very well that what he was doing was just not right. Using you, lying, cheating, and if he never encouraged Tony to do major changes in his life combined with therapy, then he never really helped him. I hope Tony one day comes to his senses and realizes that this was not your fault, whether he is with Matt or not. Wish you the best. I don't want to advise you to leave your husband, but I can't see how a relationship built on so many lies and omissions can recover. Also, you 100% deserve better than this. Ugh. Honestly, I'm just so sorry that you're dealing with this. Sexuality can be fickle, but the deception and pretense is hard to move forward from. Best of luck. Less than 3. Yup, seconding everyone else, you did nothing wrong. They set themselves up for failure. I am sorry to hear that there is no happy ending. I remember read your original post and I really hope there could be a better explanation. None of this is your fault and I hope you have a close friend, family member or therapist to talk to. Cheating, no matter if it was emotional or sexual, is always the decision of the cheater. In some cases, like abuse, it might be justified, but in your case it just shows what a coward your husband is. It was his responsibility to talk with his wife about what is going on. I'm glad you were able to get some version of the truth, and good on you for not buying that it was only an emotional affair, and please be gentle with yourself while you figure this out. It isn't your fault, and you weren't wrong to be so trusting. Matt took advantage of your trust, and that is entirely on him. I hope you and Anna find a healthy place after your marriages. Easier said than done, but don't let others' mindfuckery destroy your trust in others. So he only got with you so he can get close to your brother? Man, I'd divorce his ass. I'm so sorry for what you're going through. You were not the asshole the entire time. It's not bad to trust someone you love. This entire situation was on them. I learned something recently in my psychology course called hindsight bias, where the gist is the events were more predictable when going back and thinking about it. But the truth of the matter is, they weren't. You couldn't have known. Try not to feel bad about it, considering nothing was your fault in this situation. The fault in your relationship falls squarely on your husband's shoulders. I am so sorry it has turned out this way. I wish you health and every happiness. And you are not the asshole anyway. You need to learn what the term, trick truth, means and do some snooping because you're in denial. You must not blame yourself. You did nothing wrong. The men are at fault here for making vows and then lying.